Test 1, 2. Recording in progress.
Okay. Call to order. My apologies, traffic. And now I don't have my glasses today either, but we're gonna get through this. Okay. Larry, will you do the Pledge of Allegiance for us? Thank you. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They're really cute.
Oh, good. Am I cute? Oh, they're beautiful. Okay. So we have somebody in this room that's leaving us today. So we have some goodies for you that you can put up in your new office. Really full, cool stuff. And I'm going to start with your beautiful 30-year pen set. And I hope you have a desk to put it on.
Yes.
Okay. So
I
that'll
was
be.
hoping it was going to leave the house when I stopped working, so
I know.
it didn't really go with the decor, but now I'll have to stay. It'll have to stay.
Okay. So I'll bring it to you in a minute, and I'm going to read. This is gorgeous. Certificate of Appreciation. 30 years of service. Okay, so you're recognized for your leadership, dedication, and valuable contributions to LA County Employees Retirement Association. You have advanced LACERA's internal audit function, promoted opportunities for growth and advancement, and consistently reflected a compassionate approach. With your leadership, internal audit has gained recognition as a change agent, and you have championed practices that support LACERA's governance and framework. Okay, among your many contributions, you enhanced cross-divisional collaboration and provided guidance to the team during significant organizational changes. Your service has created a lasting impact that will benefit LACERA and its members for many years. With sincere appreciation, we recognize your, more than 36 years of service.
Total service, yeah.
So where's your 35 one?
I don't know.
You have to ask HR.
Yeah,
And what is the 35 one bookends?
I had a break. I left the county for a couple of years, so
It's bookends?
Yeah, 40.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, you don't get your bookends, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's a clock.
Oh, there is a clock involved.
Yeah.
I think I have one.
Yeah, 35 is
Okay.
clock, 40 is.
All right, but congratulations,
Thank
Richard,
you so
from
much.
all of us. And here.
So appreciate it.
Can you take a picture with the committee?
Yeah, how do you want to do that with us standing back?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. We gotta get these. You can be in the front, yeah. Okay, let's just get, yeah.
I don't have to be in the front.
You have to be.
I can be in the front.
You can look right over my head today.
I think you can even look over my head.
I know. Nicole, you come close.
Oh, okay.
Debbie, you come up front. This is your committee.
Yes.
But I was late today.
That's okay.
Give demerits.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I'll stand over there and you stand right there.
Yeah, there we go. Anybody else go up? You want? Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
No,
I
funny
think
one?
so.
Okay. I know.
Okay.
Just go. I think that one goes one more over.
If I may say just a few words.
Yes, please.
Let's see, I took down some hurried notes here, but I'm truly honored and to just have served in this trusted position for, now I've lost my glasses. But truly honored to have served in this position for 22 years. And I'm certainly grateful to the audit committee and trustees that have served on the audit and ACRE committee over the years, and for the support of the committee and all of the trustees and the boards, for the support of the executive team, from Marcia Richter, Greg Rodemaker, Lou, Rob, I think Steve served in the position for a while, most notably recently Santos for his support, and now for Lewis's support. I think that's, the support of the boards and the executive team, as well as management and staff throughout the organization, seeing internal audit as a collaborative, being mindful of being independent, but also being seen as collaborative and helping the organization. I think that support has been tremendous, and we couldn't have done it without everybody's support. So appreciative of that. To me, LACERA has been family, and it's a sad moment to leave the LACERA family. But I guess we'll always be part of the LACERA family, and now I'm going to be top boss. So I'm going to be a member. So, I'm proud of all the people that have come through internal audit, the team that's gone on. I'm grateful for my team. I mean, if I didn't mention them, I need to be so grateful for the team, and proud of all of them, and proud of all those that have gone on to other positions throughout the organization, management and other positions throughout the organization. So again, just extremely grateful and honored to have served in this position for all these years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move to roll call.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Ms. Speffler,
Here.
Mr. Kehoe,
Present.
Ms. Langton. Here. Mr. Fay.
Present.
Can you please confirm, actually, Mr. Fay's participating via Government Code Section 54953.83 due to contagious illness. Can you please confirm if there's any individuals 18 years or older in the room with you?
I can confirm there are none.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Martin?
Here.
Ms. Me?
Here.
And Ms. Ginsburg? Here. Okay, we can now continue with the agenda.
Okay, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of November
Let's do the elections.
elections. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome everyone to today's meeting. We're going to the first business of order is the election of the ACRE officers. As past year's chair, I will be conducting the elections for the 2026 ACRE chair, vice chair, and secretary. During the election of each position, I will ask for nominations from the trustees, as these are nominations and not motions. No second is required for a nomination. Are there any questions? Okay, so the first election will be the 2026 committee chair. Do I hear nominations for the chair position?
I'd like to nominate, our chair, Debbie Marty, to continue to be the chair.
Do I hear any other nominations for the chair? Okay, so I guess I'm it. If there's only one nomination for the position, I should declare it a nominated election. So as sole nominee, Debbie Martin is declared ACRE committee chair for 2026. Thank God I have a script. Okay. And glasses. All right. So
Vice chair.
I'm now going to open up nominations for vice chair. I would like to nominate Nicole Me. Do I hear any other nominations? Okay, so I'm declared as sole nominee. Miss Me is declared ACRE vice chair for 2026. Okay. Secretary. Do I hear any nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Eileen Blanton.
Any other nominations for secretary? Okay, as sole nominee, Ms. Langston is declared Acre Committee Secretary for 2026. Thank you. And now I can do the minutes. Yeah, okay. Any move to approve the minutes? Motion? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kehoe made the motion, Ms. Ginsburg, second. Ms. Fessler?
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't on the committee at that point, so I don't have a participatory knowledge. Thank you.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Plankton?
Abstain.
Ms. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Trevor?
Abstain. Do I need to abstain or should I say yes? Either one's fine.
Say yes.
Yes.
We need it.
Ms. Me?
Yes.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
I have 2 abstentions, and the motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
There's no public comment.
Thank you. We'll move to non-consent items. So the first is proposed 2026 Acre Committee meeting dates.
All right, first of all, congratulations, Chair Martin, for your renomination as third year as Audit
No,
Committee?
second.
Second year, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. And to all the other officers and again, good morning, trustees of the Audit Committee. Attached in the memo and is the dates proposed for the Audit Committee, for the Acre Committee meetings this year. Also attached for those new, especially for those new trustees on the Acre Committee, is the Acre charter, which staff will be going over in more detail in an orientation at your March meeting, and then a calendar of board and Acre Committee meetings. I think it's, or at least the Acre, board and Acre Committee meeting calendar is attached. So without any further ado, the dates proposed are March 18th, June 24th, August 19th, and November 18th, and we look for adoption of those dates.
Motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ms. Ginsburg, I'm sorry, Fessler, and second by Ms. Ginsburg. Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe? Ms. Langton?
Aye.
Mr. Fay?
Aye.
Ms. Me?
Yes.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
And Chair Martin?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Oh, so you got a public comment? Okay. Public comment.
There was
There
none.
was none.
There was none.
I got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. No, okay. I need to say it. Okay. Thank you. No public comment. Thanks for the reminder. All right. So, Mr. Bendel, is you up again? Internal audit proposal, fiscal year 2026-27 budget request.
All right, in accordance with the IIA standards and the Acre Committee charter, we bring you our proposed budget. We bring this proposed budget to you at your first meeting every year for the Acre Committee's approval and recommendation for inclusion and approval with the rest of the LACERA budget by the JOGC and the boards. The standards require that the proposed budget must identify the necessary human, financial, and technological resources that we will need to complete the audit plan in the following year. Attached in our package are attachment A, the applicable standards in more detail, if you wish to further understand the standards that require this. Attachment B is the proposed budget, and attachment C is the draft fiscal year 26-27 internal audit plan. Due to the timing of the budget approval process, the plan is presented more as an outline of our expected audit plan. This year, I included an estimate or a range of number of audits or advisory projects that may be included in each area of the organization. The plan and those projects we know now that will be performed this year are included. So the oversight of the actuarial audit, the oversight of the financial audit, those types of projects are already included in the plan. However, the complete plan will be brought to your committee for approval at your June meeting once we have completed our risk assessment process. As the budget memo reflects, the budget is substantially unchanged from this current year, but does reflect a slight reduction in proposed service and supply costs to better align with our experience. Most of this stems from a net $50,000 reduction in professional and special services. Salary and employee benefits remain unchanged. We're not proposing to add any new staffing positions. The only changes there will be for those non-discretionary cost of living adjustments and changes in employee benefit costs. So overall, we believe this budget meets our needs to address our needs for human resources, financial and technological resources, and to complete the proposed draft audit plan. I'll stand for any questions and then ask that the committee approve this budget and approve its inclusion with the budget that goes to the boards for approval.
I have a question about, when I was reading through it, I noticed that Audit isn't hiring any interns. So I wanted some background on the intern program and if it usually is working or not working, or why we don't have them this year.
I think it's very effective in the organization. I can let Laura speak to that more. We did not choose to include one this year just due to the transition.
Okay.
I think that the new CAE needs to focus.
Did we have one last year?
We had one, not this year, but last year we did, yes.
Okay, all right. What is the policy on it? Go ahead, Laura.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee.
Thanks.
LACERA has a robust internship program that we've launched for the last few years, and there we will be bringing a number, the administrative budget will include a number of interns. They will not be for every division. We don't require it for every division. We do ask that when we have, and some divisions will have multiple interns. What works best, we find, is if they have a specific project or projects and they have a mentor who is dedicated to their development. We don't use our interns as an opportunity to get cheap labor. We use it really as a development opportunity for that individual, but also for the team members that are associated with them as well. So it gives folks who might not be a supervisor an opportunity to really guide and coach and mentor a young person and hopefully encourage them a career in public service and pensions in particular. So we will be bringing those forward. Mr. Bendel is correct. Then the internal audit with the transition is a little bit challenging to know to really be able to do this at this time. However, if there's an opportunity to do it in the future, I'm sure that they will. Internal audit does work well for that, and just because it is project based, so it would be a good division to have interns in the future.
Do you know how many interns you have in the budget?
We are still developing that now. We're still developing that now, but in the current year, I think we have 14, and we will have somewhere in a similar number.
Great.
Next year.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
I do. You mentioned that there was no intern this year. Can you explain why?
No. It was last budget year, right? And we did not, or was it this budget year that did we have somebody last budget year, or was it this budget year? It was last budget year. I just don't really recall why we didn't include one this year. I think I think we actually, no, I do. It was because we had new team staff coming on. We had we filled out vacancies. We were down, at the time we had the intern, there were 8 of us, or eight total in the office. We hired 2 new seniors and an internal auditor this year. And we wanted to focus on their staff development this year. And I think the same thoughts go with the new CAE that's coming on board for this next year. So I think that's, I think maybe by the year after, we will be in a good place to take somebody again. Sorry, it took a little while for me to remember what it was, why we didn't have one.
Any more questions? Okay. motion?
I'll move the approval of this budget, and I want to thank the staff as a new member to this committee and also because I'm from the Board of Retirement, a new member, new exposure to this whole process. The board memo was really very comprehensive and very helpful, and I appreciate you adding the charter and some background that allowed me to feel more like I had some idea of what I'm supposed to be looking at here
All right.
and why. So thank you for that. It was very good.
Thank you.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Ms. Fessler made the motion. Ms. Me second. Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Ms. Langton?
Aye.
Mr. Fay?
Aye.
Ms. Me?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Chair Martin?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we're moving to non-consent items on the next page. Ethics and compliance proposal for 26-27 budget request submitted by Steve Rice, our chief counsel.
Morning, Chair Martin, committee members. As with internal audit, the ACRE committee charter provides that the committee will also recommend an ethics and compliance program budget to the boards for adoption. We presented a budget to the committee for review and recommendation. It's a flat budget with 3 exceptions. The first exception is the salary adjustments that would follow from the MOU that's recently been entered into with Local 721. It also includes increases in registration and travel expenses, recognizing the increasing demand for ethics and compliance education in the organization, which we believe is a positive thing. As a result of that education, we now have 5 certified ethics and compliance professionals, and we have 2 more who are already pending certification. We expect that trend to continue, so we want to support that with a relatively small increase in additional travel and registration expenses. The budget proposes that and anticipates that the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer will be hired within 3 months of the beginning of the fiscal year and will serve for 9 months. We budgeted 9 months for salary and benefits for the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer, 6 months for the administrative assistant to support the CECO, and 3 months of a deputy ethics and compliance officer who will be hired once the chief arrives and is situated. That's the explanation for the amount that's budgeted for salary and employee benefits. I've already gone through the supplies and services. So with that, I'm happy to stand for questions.
I have, while you're talking about the how we're going to hire, there's 2 deputies, right?
There's 2 deputies. We're anticipating that the chief will hire 1 this year. He or she will take some time to get situated and hire 1 this fiscal year or this coming fiscal year, and the other 1 thereafter.
That makes total sense to me. I didn't really read that in the documents, but and it might be there, but that makes sense to only bring on 1 and then see if or when you need to bring on that second one. Okay, thank you. The 25-26 budget was 120K or so for SNS for the ethics compliance office. Could you tell me, I mean, very small percentage of that is salaries. A lot of it is SNS, and I was wondering what areas, I mean, what expenditures did we make in general?
Education
Okay.
was a substantial amount of it. Another substantial part of it was the Gartner subscription, which we've used very heavily for ethics and compliance consulting services. And the third primary component of it was our ethics and compliance counsel, Rebecca Walker, who's appeared before the committee and also before the boards. She's also been of great assistance during this foundational stage of building the program.
Excellent, excellent.
One comment with respect to interns, we're not budgeting any interns. Since there was interest in that subject, we're not budgeting any interns for the office. for the past 2 years, while the program has been in this foundational stage, the office has been in legal. Legal has had 2 interns, and we'll have 2 again next year if the budget is approved. And those interns are available and do work on ethics and compliance issues.
All right. Speaking of the ethics certifications, it's excellent that you have 5. They're all in, are they all in your division?
No,
Okay.
they're in other divisions.
Which ones? Do you know?
Administrative services. Allison probably knows all the divisions, but they're throughout the organization.
Well, that's all.
Allison is certified.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Allison. I'm just curious. Yeah.
We've got HR, disability retirement services, administrative services, internal audit, the executive office, and of course, legal.
Perfect. I still have more questions. One more and I'm done. I just wanted to make sure that I understood the reporting of the audit chief and the compliance. So the audit chief reports directly to this board and the executive officer. Is that correct?
The chief of internal audit has
Yeah.
a direct line to this committee and a dotted line to the CEO. Or to,
Right.
excuse me,
Yeah,
the
CEO, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, executive CEO. And then the difference is ethics not only has those 2 components, but it also will have reporting lines to BOR and BOI, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
the chief of internal audit is outside of management, which is why there's only a dotted line to the CEO and a solid line to this committee. The chief ethics compliance officer has an important element of independence, but they're within management. And therefore, and this was a subject of a lot of discussion with this committee and also with the boards, the reporting lines, the straight reporting lines are to the CEO, the boards, and this committee. So it's kind of an unusual reporting structure, but that's what evolved from the discussion with the committee and the boards. There's a dotted line to chief counsel, which is administrative only.
Yeah. Okay, I have no further questions. Any others?
I'll make the motion to approve this request and have the same comments. Thank you, Steve and Allison, for putting together such a well-written and clearly written packet on this. For those of us that are new to this issue, it was very helpful to have all the background. Appreciate it.
A second.
Ms. Fessler made the motion, Ms. Me second.
I do have a question real quick, if that's possible.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm new to the committee as well. And so I just want to understand if we're going to be hiring a chief and 2 deputies without knowing for sure whether we would need the HR capacity for 2. And we're going to be doing the chief and the first deputy this year. How are we going to determine if we still need to have a second deputy next year, if they can get the work done? Just thinking about costs and making sure that we don't, and I'm sure this was well discussed beforehand, but I couldn't find any background on it. So I just want to ask that question real quick.
Through the chair, and yes, Trustee Fay, this is actually one of the reasons why we only budgeted for 1 deputy this year. Once the chief is in place, they will be the ones who will engage with this committee and the boards and the CEO on the need for the additional deputy.
Okay, so it's up to 2, but not necessarily 2. So that makes way more sense to me. That was just my only question.
Yeah, and if I can also expand a little bit further. Good morning, Chair Martin, committee members. The chief, as Mr. Rice stated, will have an assessment. But one of the things we are very careful on adding, as we've talked about in future budget meetings, any additional headcounts, we want to be sensitive to that. So it's ensuring that the work justifies the need for the additional position. So that's going to be a big factor in adding any additional positional authority.
And can I just weigh in? And I assume the reason that you ask for 2, not knowing for sure, is so that you don't have to go back to the Board of Supervisors and go through the steps of getting a second one approved at some time later, right?
Yeah, I think we're definitely.
So this gives you
thinking
flexibility.
Long-term maturity, yep.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the chart or the I guess, chart. And it's on page, it's my page 58 of 127, but I know you have different pages. It's at the end of the audit report where it says Ethics and Compliance Office. Board of Retirement and Board of Investments is at the top. To the left is Audit Compliance Risk, which is ACRE, that's us. To the right is Chief Executive Office. Below that is the request for the ethics and one chief ethics and one deputy, and that's fine. Where is on this chart, where is the chief internal auditor? I mean, for me, not for the chart. Like, where would it fall?
The chief of internal audit would not be on this chart because they're not part of the ethics and compliance office. They do have a line to this committee, which is shown on the organizational chart, which was in the internal audit budget that Mr. Bandel just presented.
Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, I must have missed that chart. I thought this was a chart we were talking about. Got it. So it would just be, I realize they're not in ethics and compliance, so it would just be a separate line, I guess, to
Separate line
audit
to
and
this committee,
compliance
to this committee.
from another section.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So they're equally with the ethics and compliance. Oh, ethics and compliance is under the CEO. Okay, got it.
Yes, but they are, we position them to be parallel within the organization, one within management, it's the second line. For those of you who've been around for the history of this, and we've described the three lines, and internal audit being the third line, independent of management.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Me?
Thank you. So this is about budget approval. I think my comment can tie into this. It's about budget, about compensation. So I'm comparing these two position, one is a chief audit officer and one is an audit compliance officer, right? So the compensation for that two position and the responsibility amount and the amount of work. So looking at audit officer, so that's a lot of work leading 11 people team and consultants and responsible for such a large organization audit, right? So the budget we have for is 3.69 million. So that's quantify the work for the leadership position chief audit officer. And then on the other hand, for the FDA and compliance officer, so we have 379K of budget for 3 positions. We still establish the work in that branch. So I want to make that comment that maybe that's what we should look into, the compensation comparing the 2 positions. Is it right that they have the same pay?
Through the chair, Committee Chair Martin, Trustee Me, thank you for highlighting that. That's something that we're going to be working with HR in terms of just our competitiveness in the marketplace, not only for the chief audit executive positions, but there's other positions at LACERA where we're not even competitive and with even our systems like OSERS and San Bernardino. So that's a more broader conversation that I'll work with HR on in terms of right sizing and looking at the competitiveness of our some of our salaries.
That's fantastic. Looking externally to see if we're competitive or not, also looking internally, see the equities they're not for comparing the amount of work and responsibility of the pay for each position or cost. That's what my suggestion. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'll do roll call. Ms. Fessler?
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe?
Aye.
Ms. Langton?
Aye.
Mr. Fay?
Aye.
Ms. Me?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
And Martin, Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We're going to move on to updating LACERA's Code of Ethical Conduct. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair and Trustees. I'm Jess Riva, Staff Counsel. I'm here with Steve Rice and Allison Barrett to present on the Code of Ethical Conduct. We were last here in November, and we're excited to return for a final draft of the code for your review and hopefully approval and recommendation to both boards for their approval as well. So let's jump right in. Next slide. Just to quickly remind ourselves, a code is a key document that establishes standards of conduct and internal controls to reduce ethics and compliance risk. Our current code was last updated in 2021, and so it's due for an update. And the process has been very collaborative. We've been working with internal stakeholders, including, of course, this body, as well as external experts. And with your recommendation, we plan to next take it to the boards for their approval. Next slide. So you have a copy of the final draft. It's Exhibit A to the memo. It's still subject to some minor design adjustments and final proofreading. It incorporates suggestions from this board in November, as well as the staff focus group that met around the same time. I will note this body had a suggestion to include the attestation form with a nepotism policy, which we agree would be best practices and very helpful. We're going to continue to work with HR on this, specifically the nepotism, specifically an attestation form, and perhaps ultimately expanding what's in the code into a standalone nepotism policy. It's a pretty substantive subject that ultimately may need to stand alone on its own policy with its own separate procedures where that attestation form could be addressed. I want to draw your attention to two issues with the links. We're very excited that the code has links to other policies so you can peruse and dive deeper when you need to. But there's two issues that come up. We want to flag them for you. First is that trustees don't have access to Compass, which is the internal staff website where most of the policies are housed. So we're working on finding an alternative way for you all to access everything, most likely through Board Vantage. We'll probably have the code in one spot with all the policies. You can find everything in one place. We will confirm that though. And then second, the links in the code in the final draft will be, of course, to the current versions of those policies. And those policies may be updated before the code is updated. So we're requesting permission to, as needed, just update those links so that you're always able to click on the current version of the policy. Next slide. So in terms of next steps, of course, we want to get your approval and recommendation to both boards. Once we receive their approval, we'll begin working on implementation. We've broken it down into three stages. Pre-launch, we're going to work with LACERA leadership and staff level champions to secure support and participation throughout all levels of the organization. Second, we will launch the code with a full week of activities. There will be an announcement. The code will be distributed via email from the CEO to all trustees and staff members. We'll also publish a page on our intranet, LACERA Connect. And then we're going to socialize the code. So it's not just an email that goes out and that's it. We're going to have a digital campaign. We'll be working with communications on branding, using our slogan, and daily messages each day of that first week aligned with the key sections of the code that are tied to our values. And then we also want to hold in-person events, at least one, probably more, as we've just been discussing it. We want to make sure everyone can attend or everyone has an opportunity to attend. And at those events, we will distribute hard copies of the code and also a flyer highlighting key principles. We'll of course do training. Training will be done by video for all staff. We'll have in-person training for the boards. And of course, as part of that training, we will all attest to receiving the training, reading the code, understanding it, and to holding ourselves up to the code standards. And then finally, and I think what many of us are very excited about, we want to have ongoing programming for the code moving forward. This isn't just a one and done thing. This is part of our values. It's a part of our culture. It's who we are. So we're going to continue the digital campaign. We'll have quarterly messages focused on one of the 5 sections of the code that is tied to the values. We'll continue to have engagement through existing channels. So we have all staff meetings. We have a staff newsletter. We'll continue to raise issues and important principles from the code there. And of course, training will continue annually with attestations, of course. Next slide. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, hear any comments, last minute suggestions before we go to the boards.
Thank you. First, very good job on this overall. It's very clean, very nice, and I think it speaks volumes for our beliefs as an organization. I have 2 things. One's a minor thing, just a minor typo on page 10,
yes.
Base stamp 93 under honoraria. It should say, I think, any.
Oh, perfect.
It says
Okay, thank you for
NY.
noting that.
Those
Those
like
are
it's
the
New
sorts
York.
of things we're
Yeah.
gonna catch before we finalize it. So thank you for noting that one.
But then I do have a substantive issue. So this is a change from our existing policies. So it is adding additional restrictions. There's one that I disagree with and that I think that we need to relook at. I wasn't here in November to look at this stuff, but we're adding a requirement on gifts of $0, right? So
Yeah, and
that's a significant addition. The FPPC has a limit of $630, with I think like $50 is reportable for
Right.
each source. And now we're going to 0. So for appointed and elected trustees, that's a significant restriction. Now, I'm a Form 700 filer with the Sheriff's Department, but I don't have that restriction on me. So if somebody buys me a cup of coffee, or many of my employees like to give me gifts during Christmas time that are very small, but all of those fall under the $50 reportable limits, but they would all violate this policy. And in addition to that, we also have to consider that we have a lot of appointed members that have significant other jobs that signing on to serve here at LACERA on a pretty much volunteer basis, to place that restriction on them. As it is right now, it's tough with just the Form 700, but now to say that they, other than family, because that's what's specified in here, that that they're restricted from taking that. So I think that needs to be completely revised. If we want to restrict it for full-time employees or whatever the case is, I leave that to the CEO to decide. But for trustees and appointed elected members, I think we should go with the FPPC limits. Those are there for a reason. If that was unethical, then they would have changed those limits. So I think we go with that limits. That's my comments.
thank you for that. And I'm so grateful to hear a substantive discussion on this point, because it was raised last time, but I know we've had many new trustees join the committee, so I'm glad we can really dig into it. Let me explain a little bit about the background, and I'm eager to hear what everyone's thoughts. So the current code, as you noted, essentially defaults to FPPC regulations on gifts. And so the proposed change is to set a higher standard than the FPPC regulations and saying we won't accept anything unless we pay for it. And of course, the goal is to reduce the appearance of conflicts of interest and improper influence. So just a practical example. So while the FPPC does allow gifts up to a certain amount annually, as you noted, 600, I think it went 690, it went up to, but from a single source, which you would disclose on your Form 700 if it exceeds 50. So 50 is the disclosure threshold. Our proposal is moving forward that no one would have any gifts to disclose on their Form 700 because they either didn't accept them, LACERA paid for them because it's a legitimate business expense, or the official paid for it themselves. However, we would still follow the other FPPC regulations on gifts, which most importantly define gifts and have numerous exemptions. So some of the ones you raise may fall into exceptions and wouldn't need to be, be subject to this rule. And then just very briefly, I want to jump to the language in the code. And so it's under gifts, it says any payment or benefit for which LACERA does not pay or provide services of equal or greater value, and that is intended to influence a business decision or could create an appearance of impacting a business decision. So I think the goal is definitely one, set a higher standard to make sure everything is clear, and hopefully something that's simpler to enforce, that it's just, we don't accept anything unless we pay for it or we pay for it ourselves. But with that, I understand, I hear where you're coming from, and I'm grateful to have this deeper discussion now before we finalize it. So
I say that it's not simpler. I think it places us in a very awkward position where we have to now have an even more of a flow chart, where it's pretty simple. I keep track of it. I have a gift log, and if I need to report it, report it. But where we are right now, it could, if it changes to this, it places us in a position where we got to go, okay, does this fall within the section? If not, so I don't think that we make a change. Like I said, the FPPC has those guidelines for a reason. We're essentially saying we're better than the FPPC, and I just think that it's a wrong path. I like everything else in the policy. I think everything else is great. I think this one makes it so that it will actually make it look like we're being more, trying to get around rules than just follow what the rules are that are out there for the rest of the state and for all other elected officials.
Okay. I am in agreement with Trustee Kehoe. I want to make that clear. And anybody wants, do you have a discussion on this item? That's fine. Go
I
ahead. Nate.
do. I strongly second to what Trustee Kehoe, share. It sounds excellent, the policy. I like that how it sounds. However, in practice, it's very difficult to make it practical. For example, when a trustee, right, when we're out there having a coffee with, one of the working network and then have a lunch, and LACERA is not going to have a credit card to pay every one of those transactions, right? And then this is work related expense, right? So how do we put those? There's no place to fit in. Like, do I pay for my parking, but it's a work expense, but it's not covered, and then I'm not supposed to, based on this policy, I'm not supposed to accept that lunch or that coffee, right? So make it difficult to do business out there. So I think the county policy is good, if we're being very mindful, right? Not accept the gifts, but if this kind of networking and relationship building and learning with industry people out there, they have lunch or coffee, that we can do that. We're allowed to do that rather than say we're violating this policy. So good, but not practical. So we, agree, we should go back to what is practical.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Lee. Yeah.
I just agree.
Yes.
I tend to agree with all of this as well. And I will say that I would have less concern about this being applied to LACERA's employees, because that's a bright line. But with this board being made up of people from a variety of walks of life, I mean, several of them are also county employees, but a lot of us are just in the community. I'm retired, but there are members on boards that have other jobs in the private sector, et cetera. And this could become really cumbersome, particularly for people who aren't familiar with what the government folks have to live with. So I think that at the very least, the board members, and I'm not trying to pull rank or anything, but and it also is the case that a lot of us are appointed. If this is created and it applies to a trustee, especially an appointed one, that information needs to be shared with the Board of Supervisors so that they communicate that to their prospective appointees, because then you might have people that aren't willing to serve, et cetera. So I think it has some unintended consequences that are probably not worth the benefit of a policy that is so restrictive. And so I support what you're saying. I think there are even additional reasons over and above what have already been offered. But with regard to it interrelates here, the outside activities and outside employment. Again, I understand that with respect to LACERA's employees, but when you've got a board that is made up of folks that they come by definition, they come from outside of the LACERA staff, including many that come from the private sector. I can just, I mean, as you guys probably know, I did conflict of interest stuff for the county for 25 years. I'm looking at this thinking, holy Moses, what would, how would I analyze this if I'm in the position of those of you either in this ethics office or the legal division to try to figure out how to unscramble some of this stuff. I think one of the things that we have to be cognizant of when we're developing an ethics policy is that it has to be workable. And if it becomes too pure, it isn't workable, either because it's impossible to anticipate or analyze, and you put people in completely horrid and unresolvable situations, or you wind up, it is so exclusionary that you wind up losing the benefit of people who would otherwise be of great value. I mean, I look at this thing here, the one example about being on a board of a charity or a nonprofit. I'm currently on the board of a nonprofit, and I've just recently finished 5 years of service on the board of a charity. if that becomes, you know, they're bright lines and they don't necessarily cross over, but if that kind of thing becomes an issue, then I'm going to give a lot of thought as to whether or not this service impedes too much on other parts of my life. So I appreciate the effort to be as robust as possible, but it also, the further you go that way, the more negative implications are created by it. So I would also suggest that that part of the policy be looked at with a little more of a common sense or real world perspective to see how far it needs to go. I understand the reason for it, and certainly for the people on the LACERA, in the LACERA staff, where that is your day-to-day responsibilities, et cetera, you're going to be in a much better position to be able to draw a bright line.
Right. And just to be clear, the outside employment and activities policy is a policy that only applies to staff. What does apply to everyone, both employees and trustees, are from the government code, the incompatible activities,
incompatible offices.
And so on page 12, there's a bullet on incompatible activities and employment. It says staff should review the outside employment and activities policy for more further information. So the trustees are subject to those incompatible offices and government code provisions. Staff would be the one subject to the outside employment
Okay.
activities
It doesn't
policy.
read that way. It says LACERA supports trustees and staff serving as active members of our communities.
We can
However, we
clarify that.
cannot engage in activities, blah, blah, blah. I saw the reference at the bottom encouraging staff to look, but the way it's phrased right now, to me, it read as though it was as comprehensive and as across the board applicable as everything else that's in here.
Thank you so much for highlighting. Yeah, we can clarify that there's a policy that applies to staff, and then there's these government code provisions that apply to everyone.
Right.
And so we can break that down and make it much more clear.
Okay.
And of course, there's general principles. We all want to avoid conflicts of interest and incompatible
Right.
Offices. So thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, I have some other comments, but they're not on this particular topic. So do you want me to go now or just wait until we're done here? Okay.
Trustee Fay has something to say on this subject. Am I correct, trustee?
Was that to me or was that to
Yeah,
Eileen? Was
you.
before I
No.
was?
Oh, Elaine just went.
Oh.
She went fast.
Got it. Basically, the way that it was written, and thank you, Trustee Kehoe, for bringing it up, that would stop me from being able to do literally my company. Like it would stop everything. And for finance people, that's dead in the water. Like I wouldn't join this board. Nobody could. If you want to have people with some expertise, it's impossible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth, anything? Okay, thank you.
Just to make sure I'm understanding, it sounds like there's consensus about the gifts, but openness to having that sort of policy apply to staff. And we will revisit that and take a closer look. But for the trustees, you want to stay with the FPPC regulations, which is what is in the current code. But for staff, you're open to making that adjustment.
That was what I was going to recommend. I was going to recommend having the CEO review it for staff specific, but as far as the trustees, that it be based on FPPC guidelines. And the same thing with when you're talking about the board on page 12.
Yes.
Because it does clearly say at the beginning, LACERA supports trustees and staff.
Right.
So we just need to clarify that this policy on the restrictions are for staff.
Yes.
This one's for trustees.
We can clarify that. So on both points.
And then I think Bobby had some.
Yes, I'm opening up for more questions.
Okay. Yeah, I had a couple. We're talking about launching, which is great, and I really am happy to see. I mean, this whole thing is just a real. I know what an effort it is, and I can hear the pride that you all have in it and the passion you have for it, and it comes through in the document as well, which is what's going to make this successful, right? People have to believe in this, and they have to be, those that haven't participated in developing it have to be sold. And when you guys are passionate advocates and your passion comes through, that's going to make others be accepting and receptive to it. With that in mind, I don't see anything in here where we're going to tell our members what we're up to. And I actually think that it is important for members to know that LACERA has such incredibly high standards, and we're putting such an emphasis on ethical behavior and ethical activity, and that all of this work has gone into this. So I would urge you guys to figure out where in that calendar you sing our praises, blow our horn a little bit and let the world know that this is who we are and this is what we stand for.
Thank you so much for that suggestion. We'll look into what would be the best way to do that. I
Okay.
know there's a member newsletter. Perhaps that would be a good way to do it. but
Yeah,
We'd
yeah.
love to share the news. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the last issue I have is there was a reference to the fact that trustees don't have access to Compass.
Yes.
Can you tell me what Compass is?
Sure. It's it's an internal website where all of our policies are housed. So for LACERA staff, we can have one repository where we can go in and find all our policies, whichever one we may be applicable to what we're working with. And the current version of the code that you have, the draft version, has links, and those right now are Compass links, which unfortunately you don't have access to. And so we're gonna figure out a
Okay.
way so that you can access everything that
And-
we have access to.
And is there a reason that, and I'm sure you're not the right person to ask, maybe Louis or Richard or somebody else or Steve can answer, but why do board trustees not have access to those policies? I mean, we adopt them, right?
No, thank you, Trustee Fessler. So the Compass is both external and internal. So it's a lot of internal procedures as well that are kind of housed within LACERA. So it's a SharePoint site, as just mentioned. It's a repository. So there's things that wouldn't be germane to the committee or the board that are very specific to the LACERA workflows. And then there's also broader policies. Now there is on our public website, all of the board approved policies are available on our public website, and all of you have access to that. Compass also incorporates all of the internal processes and procedures. So that's it's an internal SharePoint document for the organization.
Would we screw it up somehow, or could we inadvertently mess it up if we had access to it? I mean, it doesn't sound to me like it's anything that's personally identifiable information or otherwise of some, it's not the keys to the castle. So is there a reason why is it not just the easiest to give board members access to Compass rather than go through the routine of pulling all this stuff out? I'm not nosy, but I'm just trying to figure out the easiest way to accomplish this.
I think offering access is probably easiest, something I'll talk to systems, but also just keeping kind of that delineation of oversight versus kind of all of the day-to-day responsibilities of the organization. So we're just trying to be mindful of that.
And I think that's key, keeping the board at the governance level and not into the weeds with the internal policies and procedures.
Yeah,
is important.
But we'll talk about ease of access.
But those documents are also public records. I mean, the internal policies, if my next door neighbor wanted LACERA's internal policy on how overtime is approved, that'd be a public record that we'd have to turn over, right? So, I mean, it's one thing for us not to start micromanaging, but again, the documents themselves are, I would assume, disclosable public records if in fact anybody knew they existed or wanted to request them. So I'm just trying to figure out the easiest way.
My limited understanding, again, I'm not systems, but from kind of running into this issue and realizing you all don't have access to Compass, is that I guess trustees don't have access to SharePoint essentially, which is a very broad network or program. And so Compass is a small slice of that. So wouldn't it be just giving access to Compass, it'd be giving access to everything, which you may or may not want? I guess it's a bigger question than just
We'll work with our systems team to see what's the easiest, whether it's a link to Boardvantage, whether we can isolate that particular, SharePoint site. So again, something for us to go back to.
So Aileen, go ahead.
Yeah, just following up on that, and I have other stuff, so I'll get to, great job. Great, I'll get to that in a minute. But I was just gonna say exactly what Bobby said. Everything is public records, so I'm assuming this is a public policy, right?
Yes,
Okay,
our current code is on the LACERA.com. This will be on LACERA.com.
okay,
But
so,
if you click on the links, they're going to be to the internal website, which is something that we've seen across other retirement systems who have similar codes. And so it's.
so if this is on the website, the public won't be able to click on September 2024 memorandum, permissible political action activities?
Right, but any of
But
the
they should.
policies that go to an internal policy, they won't be able to.
But they should, because if we're listing something on our public website, you can't, I don't think we should, I wouldn't link to something and then not give the public access. That's just like a red flag to me. So I would strongly recommend that if you're going to post this, and we should, that every single one of those links should be accessible. And it doesn't matter how you do that. You don't have to use ShareSite or Compass or any of that, but it just needs to be accessible, just like the other policies are accessible at the bottom of the website.
I think I'm looking to Steve. I know a number of our policies are internal and they have historically not been posted online.
I
And
know,
So that would be.
I get that, but to me, that's a huge problem. That's a big red flag to me. And we talk about transparency and accountability. That is not transparency. That is not accountability. Accountability, I'm not even worried about. It's not transparency.
If I may chime in, I have been waiting to talk.
Go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Trustee
Yeah,
Nee.
excellent discussion. I think this is healthy. We're talking about code ethic that I always emphasize in every meeting that in order to make anything successful in implementation, we have to lead by example, right? We have to build trust, build credibility. And in the executive team, the board, we lead by example. We do what we preach to do. So transparency is something that I can see we can improve here. So allowing access, trustee to have access to you can have different level access. You can have allow trustee to have access to, a minimal general information, not the sensitive information. We don't need all of that, right? So that give me a sense of transparency there. But going against it made me concerned that are we doing what we preach to do, transparency here. So that's my point.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Very few public agencies, whether it's the County of Los Angeles, LACERA, other public pension systems, have all of their policies and procedures just open by default. We can work as Louis said to review Compass. There may be things on Compass that we would want to discuss with the committee or the boards, and we can identify those issues. We would, if all those links are going to be public, we just need to review them. So I think we wouldn't want to categorically say we're going to make them all public, but we can review them for that purpose.
But then how are you going to explain when somebody, if this is on a public website, if somebody clicks on the link, sorry, you don't have access. Oh, but by the way, if you do a Public Records Act request, we're going to have to give it to you.
Yeah, if
So that's ridiculous. That's just a waste of, yeah.
If the document's exempt, it wouldn't be produced in response to a Public Records Act request. If it was, it would be. The idea of being transparent with public policies is not something that staff pushes back on at all.
I would just suggest that if it's something that we're reluctant for whatever reason to not disclose publicly, then you need to take the link out and some other way draft around the fact that you're not going to have the link. Because I think the point that's been made is if people see this and they're interested in it and they click on a link and it's a dead end, that raises suspicions, that raises complaints, etc. The links are usually shortcuts for a deeper explanation. So if there's a a document referenced here with a link that you're not comfortable making available to the public, then take the link out and write a paragraph that summarizes whatever was going to come about through that link, because otherwise we're just asking for trouble. And I think that's exactly what the point that's been made is one that I agree with. I mean, I know from my own experience, if I get on a website and I go to click something and nothing works, it's very frustrating, and it starts making you question what's going on here. Is the system not working? Is this organization not keeping things up to date, or are they trying to hide something? So we don't need to walk into those kinds of problems when we're drafting something. You just draft around it. It would be my recommendation.
The links are there for transparency, to increase transparency, and the links are there to both internally and externally. So we'll review the document for this purpose. But again, that when in drafting the issue, this is a public document, so we're aware of this issue. And again, the idea of having the links there was to enhance transparency.
I know, but the links were not going to be operable.
Working.
So I don't know how, I mean, they weren't going to be operable vis-a-vis the public. So I don't know how that enhances transparency to let the public know we have a document, but you can't see it. And that's what we're talking about here, is from the standpoint, it's one thing for internal, sure, give them the policies, however you want. But when it's going to be publicly available, anything that is part of that document should also be publicly available. And if there's something in one of those policies that you believe is exempt from disclosure or could otherwise is something that we don't want to publicly advertise, we shouldn't put a link to it in this document and then just make the link dead. That's going to create more trouble than it solves, I think.
One other just quick consideration that we were taking into account is that obviously the code is 44 pages long. It's covering a lot of ground. We want to make sure people are aware of all these different issues, and we can't possibly restate all the important points from all the policies. So it's like, essentially the goal is for each subject area to provide a brief overview, and here's where you can dive deeper and really get into it. So our goal is to maintain that structure, and it's great to hear that these concerns about transparency. I will note there are other retirement systems who have the same setup, so we'll review this further.
Okay, but that doesn't make it right.
Absolutely,
because
So we'll try to explore what else we can do here.
As county counsel who worked on public records since they first started, when we only used to get one a month, and then we started getting like 100 a month.
Right.
And it wasn't even that long ago, but every single one of my clients, DCFS, APS, LACERA, they all had all of their policies and procedures, internal, external, it didn't matter. If there was something with PPI in it, it wasn't a public document typically. If it was a child death, you redacted out the information related to that child or family. So I don't know what other public pensions do. They're not all California. But as a member of this board, I think that we open as much as we can. So
and
I'd
logistically,
appreciate that.
It would be easier as well. So
and just to clarify, my suggestion that you remove the link and write the paragraph was only with respect to a policy where you wanted to make the link dead.
Got it.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that's the great way of doing it. But if when you go back and look through this with the thought in mind that we have to make these links active,
or there's somewhere we wouldn't want the
if
public
there's
to
some
access. Got it.
exactly
Okay.
that was what I was referring to as
Understood.
an alternative approach, but
Thank
only
you.
in those circumstances.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have 3 trustees that want to make comments. Kehoe, Langdon, and Faye. Go ahead.
Thank you. So couple of things. So there are two slightly different things that we just spoke about. One is the compass, one is the policy thing. So on the policy side, this is very simple to correct. We should have all of our policies that are not confidential, and by confidential meaning like internal systems, things and things like that, that places us at risk for cyber attacks and things like that. For the vast majority of our policies, they should be out there public. So if maybe that's a project that we put on the greater board, maybe it's operational oversight discussion, but that should be out there. If you go to pars.last.org, every single policy on the LA County Sheriff's Department is posted,
Right.
including my court services division policies are all posted.
Right.
So not only the court's policies are, but the policies for the entire department is. You can see when my quarterly qualifications are required for policy. So all that stuff's out there. So maybe that's something that we move in that direction. And then the department had that same, it was a big ask and it was a big lift, and they had to fix all those links because those links were connecting internally to the intranet site. And now it's on this external thing. So it's very simple to do. You have two PDF files, one that is the internal document that leads to internal links, and you have the external one. And if there's a very rare case of a link that we don't want the public to have access to because it provides some sort of security risk or anything that would be protected, then we just don't have those linked active. So, but I think that's a bigger thing. I think that we should move towards that. We should have everything posted, and we should highlight it so that people can access and see what we're doing. As far as the compass side, that's simple enough as giving us access or not. My question really, this is really a CEO decision, but if everything on Compass is accessible by any employee at LACERA, then, which means a brand new hire or an intern that has access to the LACERA site, then that's probably something that the board should have access to. And if there are things that are under multiple layers, then we shouldn't have full access by any means, but we should have access to what a general employee should have access to. And I know how SharePoint works, and it's as simple as saying, yep, you have access and you don't. So we all have lacera.gov email addresses. We should be able to log on. I can log on to the Sheriff's Department intranet site remotely and have access to everything that I have as an employee sitting there. And our volunteers have access to that if we give them a login credentials because they're working on stuff. So that's how I would look at it. But if it's like internal, high level stuff or systems or some sort of wiki group that people are posting on, then obviously we shouldn't have access to kind of that stuff. But that's something I think the CEO should take a look at and see what level of engagement the board should have on that. So once again, another bigger topic of discussion outside of this, but I don't want that to be lost on us that maybe that's as simple as that. It's just granting us access and having all that work. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Langton.
Okay, back to amazing job. Yes, this was beautiful. It was so well written, so understandable, so non-verbose. It was great. It's really good.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions though,
Yeah.
based on that. Are you intentionally staying away from section numbers and numerals?
We did. We went back and forth on it. I think initially our current code does have it.
Yep.
And then I think our initial drafts did have it. And then we moved away from them again, just to have a clear document. And we would, in practice, we envision referencing page numbers, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, and headings.
Yeah, so I appreciate you thinking outside the box. It is definitely clean. My only issue with that is it's a code, and typically codes have sections, but could be just semantics. But in your document, and I know you said you're still going to go through it and clean up stuff.
Yes.
But like on page 13 in the last paragraph, you reference a section number. On page 20 in the top right paragraph, you reference a number. And I think that's
Fabulous.
appropriate, and I think that's helpful. And I don't think it has to be one, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or two, you know, or Roman numeral one, Roman numeral two, just something for headings at a minimum.
Okay, yes. Yeah, and so a earlier version did have the Roman numerals, and so I'm hearing that that would be helpful to return to the final draft.
I mean,
Okay.
that's just my 2 cents worth on that. I'll live either way, but I think it's helpful. I think there's a reason we do that. And I love that this is so clean and beautiful, but I do think it's more convenient to have that. That's one thing. Let me see. You said you're gonna fix the typos. Okay, so on page 5,
Mhm.
I love the comment that ethics in the blue box.
Yes.
Ethics is not an excuse for being non-compliant, and compliance is not an excuse for not being ethical. I love that sentiment. I just wonder if we could simplify it a little. Is not an excuse for not being ethical. I mean, are we saying is not an excuse for being unethical? Is that what we're saying there? I just wonder.
Double negatives, a positive.
Yeah, we have a lot of double negatives in this.
Yeah.
Not an excuse, non-compliant, not an excuse, not being ethical. I love it, but I just wonder if rewording it wouldn't help just a tiny bit, because it's a great comment.
Absolutely, we can work on that. I think what we were trying to get at, or maybe what led to this box to begin with, is the idea of focusing on compliance to the exclusion of ethics and losing track of the bigger picture. I think
Okay.
that's what we were trying to
Okay.
drive into and provide some more concrete examples in the bullet points. But I hear you with the double
Okay.
negatives. We're trying to communicate something very important, but
Right.
it's getting lost in
That's like the
double
most
negatives.
important
Yeah.
sentence. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, page 12, at the very bottom, outside activities, incompatible offices, that sentence looks like it was cut off.
Yes, that is
Okay,
one of
great.
the typos that
Okay.
we were aware of and will be corrected. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was gonna ask, that media policy, that's, okay, that's referring to social media section 6, that's on page 13 that I mentioned. Okay. On page 16, bottom right,
Yes.
okay, can you tell me what this last paragraph is? If we served as a trustee or worked in certain positions, we cannot lobby LACERA for any form of compensation for 2 years after leaving our position.
Mhm.
And then it names the positions.
Yes. This is directly from the government code, so this is not our own creation or policy. Exactly.
Right, but does that mean you can't go to a private firm and lobby for money? Is that what?
Correctly. You can't leave LACERA and then get paid to appear before LACERA boards or even contact a LACERA board or staff member to advance some sort of policy or contract or anything like that.
I thought that was a permanent ban. It's 2 years?
It's 2 years.
Is that new, or has it always been? Oh,
It didn't
okay.
exist at all for a long time.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know why I thought it was longer.
You may be thinking of a state, one that applies to the state
Maybe.
level officers and electeds.
Okay, maybe. Okay, also, should we add the new prospective position into this section, the CAE?
So these positions are directly from the government code language. So it calls out specific positions. And so we are basically mirroring them or listing them here. I'm happy, we will revisit and make sure there isn't room to, in the government code language, to add additional positions we now have at LACERA. But my understanding from my last look at it is that we are limited to exactly the language in the government code.
Okay.
But I'll double check that. So thank
Okay.
you for calling that out.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so page 23 at the top, speak up, listen up. This is where I appreciate Bobby's comment that we can't be hyper pure, otherwise it could backfire. So it says at the last sentence on the left, it says, we listen to and observe those around us and speak up to report any inappropriate behavior. So I appreciate that. I get where you're coming from, but we don't want everybody to feel like a narc for everybody else and be paranoid that somebody's gonna tell on them or whatever. I just wonder if, without losing the sentiment, we can maybe soften that section a little bit.
Sure. The whole section or that sentence in particular?
I mean,
because we will revisit. And work
I
on
don't
that.
think it meant, whatever works for you.
Okay.
That sentence bothered me a lot. Because it's not nice to think that your coworkers are constantly gotchaing you. Yeah.
It's a balance to strike for sure.
Yeah.
We all want to do the right thing and report things as appropriate, but yeah, we don't want to go overboard.
Okay.
Understood.
Let me see what else. Okay, well. The social media, I think it's a little strange with trustees, page 29, because we have on LinkedIn at least. I think LinkedIn is one social media that is business related pretty much only. I wouldn't list my child's tooth coming out on, LinkedIn. But I think we do hold ourselves out as representatives of LACERA on LinkedIn, not saying something that isn't approved or, making our own statements, but like when we go on LinkedIn, we say, hey, LACERA is hiring X, Y, and Z, please apply. Or we copy and whatever it's called, repost. So
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're okay with that social media. If social media, LinkedIn counts as social media, which I think it does.
It does. Yeah. We're envisioning it as being included there.
Yeah. So are we holding ourselves out as representatives? Maybe not, but we are definitely like saying, hey, I work at LACERA and I want you to apply.
Right. Right.
So just want to throw that out there. I don't know if there's anything to be done about that.
Yeah. I think the driving concern there was someone, a staff member being like, on their own, being like, it's LACERA's policy to do X, Y, Z. And that's what we want to avoid. But I hear what you're saying, so that we can revisit that language and make it clear what we're trying to address versus not address, versus just resharing a LACERA posting or job posting is not a concern. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm almost done. Page 30 at the top left, County of Los Angeles are other participating employers and those with whom we do business, period. I think that sentence needs to either blend into the other one or something.
I'm sorry,
Page 30.
Oh, 30, okay, sorry.
Top first sentence just looks like it needs a little adjusting.
This may be another
something that just
typo
needs, okay.
Working with communications from the Word document to the PDF, some little things got chopped off. So again, thank you for catching that one.
And then, okay, page 33, AI. It says AI is a new and rapidly evolving technology that requires some safeguards. I think we need to make that stronger. It requires safeguards, like not some safeguards. I think it requires a lot of safeguards.
Got it.
So I would like that language to be a little stronger.
Okay.
And also that second paragraph, additionally, do not enter into. You're using we everywhere. So do you want to just stick with we do not enter into, or just make it less?
Yeah.
Is that on purpose?
We throughout, we defaulted, our goal was just use that we language to make it more inclusive and make it more active oriented and put the person in the perspective. At certain sections, we decided to use stronger language to make it a little bit more stronger. So if we're open either way. So if you feel like this is an occasion to use we'd be happy to use it there.
To me, I think we shouldn't be here. This is like, we're really emphasizing.
Okay.
That was kind of the back and forth we had internally on that. Yeah, we, as much as possible, want to use that we language, but it was really strong. We took it out, like in a sentence like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then last thing, 34.
Yeah.
Do's and don'ts. Oh, don't access personal email from any equipment. Okay, never mind. Don't use third-party storage and shared services such as Dropbox, etc. Okay, no, I'm good. That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you. But
Great.
otherwise, exceptional, really good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all those
Yeah,
comments. Really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, you're batter up, trustee Fay.
I'm gonna be way, way faster, thankfully.
Sorry.
Because I mean, this was great. I was like, dang, I read it, but great job. So I think most things that were discussed can be addressed with 2 words, and those are embedded links. So whether it's going to a statute, a law, a policy, SharePoint, as Sean said, is easy. You can make anything easily accessible just by changing a permission. But you can also link not just to the entire document. So to your point, Jess, about there being a 42-page document, you can link to specifically where in the document where it matters.
Yeah.
So that would, I think, handle, because I go back and forth on the idea of the statute, because for people who are not who have never dealt with those before, they could be very overwhelming. But if you say, here's the language, this is what it means, you can link that to the statute. So if someone wants to go read it, boom, they got it. But if they don't want to, I understand what this means. So that was it. Just from an ease perspective, I think a lot of this stuff can be handled with just a little bit of a tech twink. Twink? It's not a word. But I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, tweak.
Tweak. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
Do you have more questions?
Nope.
Trustee?
Common.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I have
so,
one question as
Second,
well.
everything Trustee Lunton say, excellent job. Please don't take the question as,
Oh, no.
like a way to say that it's not good.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
And again, collaborative process.
yes.
So thank you so much for
And
engaging.
then I think I will see it as like we have a very hardworking staff, and then we match level of work ethic from the board participate in this exercise, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm very impressive with all the new trustees joining the audit committee, a fresh look in this document, all your comments. Like I'm impressed. So impressed by both sides of work. So I have last minor comment on page 23. Just try the point a little bit further. The ethic hotline reporting channels. I like the fact that we also part of this as trustee. We hold each other's accountable, right? And this is available to trustee. We should do it too. But the point is, if we don't have access to that internal side, we cannot use the same channels. So just the other point, make it access available to trustee. Otherwise, we can't use it. Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
I know
Thank
it's
you
a
so much.
big discussion.
I have one question.
Yes.
So in the document on the ethical conduct document, it refers to Cyril, and it refers to trustees 24 hours of training. So something new to me, I don't know. I missed it somehow, but I tried to click the link and of course I couldn't get through. So what I'd like to do, if you could distribute the policy to trustees, and I think I want to understand what the policy is and how LACERA tracks that 24 hours for us. And if you have something to share right now about that. you
Linda
can.
tracks the 24 hours
I
for
do,
all
and
trustees.
I update the website.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. I'd like to see the policy though.
it's
Yeah.
on lacera.com too. I'll send you.
Oh,
the
it is.
link right
Thank
now.
you. Okay, see, thank you very much.
Debbie, I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. One more small thing, and I appreciate it. I forgot about it until trustee Langton spoke. On the speak up, listen up, the way it's all worded now, and again, I'm coming from my old life here, okay? We have a duty to speak up and report issues. Does that mean if I know about something and I didn't report it and all this comes out later, I just decided to keep quiet. I wasn't like a co-conspirator or anything. Am I going to be subject to discipline because I didn't report something? It's described as a duty.
I think it would vary on the circumstances, but potentially, I mean, if you're aware of grave misconduct that you just kind of turn a blind eye to, I think that's what we're trying to avoid, is that, hey, if you know about something that's gone wrong in the organization, please report it to the appropriate person through your
Okay.
reporting
And-
channels. Yeah.
And again, okay, I'm gonna go back to my purity thing.
Right.
you could have a situation, depending on how this is interpreted and what the examples are in the future. Somebody comes back from their lunch 5 minutes late. You're going to have somebody narking out. I mean, it looks great and it conveys a really important message. But if somebody, and I'm going to say overreacts, maybe that's not perhaps the best word, but it's the one it's available at my advanced age in my brain right now. I'm afraid you are potentially creating a circumstance where you're going to have some employee who is, I don't want to say a misfit, but somebody that is looking for, and I'll roll back even maybe a more neutral example. One of my children, when they were small, was incredibly literal. And if someone had been 3 minutes late, if I said dinner was at 7 o'clock and my husband, decided to wash his hands and he showed up at the table at 7:03, my child was all over him. If we have an employee who has that kind of mentality and something written this way, you're going to be fielding lots and lots and lots of complaints. So I just throw that out there. I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate that it needs to be worded very emphatically to get across the message, but you could be opening a Pandora's box. And I think if you plan on holding people accountable to this, then it needs to be clear. If we say duty, then it needs to be clear that if you don't fulfill that duty, you could be held accountable, because we've got other places where, that you could be subject to discipline up to and including termination, et cetera. If that's what you have in mind and you have it some places in the document and you don't have it here, then you'll have trouble enforcing it if and when you choose to do that. So I'm throwing that out as an issue. I don't have a strong opinion about it, other than that I think it needs to be thought through a little more.
Yes, thank you again for flagging this. We'll revisit the language and make sure we're striking the appropriate balance. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I thought, oh my gosh, it sounds like my son in the Navy. I mean, if something goes wrong and he doesn't tell, he is in big trouble, but it's a real hard dilemma when your best friend, left base for 5 minutes to go get cat food or whatever. So yeah, we don't want it to become a problem either.
Right. So thank you again for raising it.
Okay, we're ready to move on. All right.
We need a motion.
We need a motion. Motion to approve?
Question, I guess we will obviously incorporate all these suggestions and directives that we've received. I guess the question is whether we should return to this body or go straight to the board with the final version with the updates.
I was gonna make a motion to approve with the recommended revisions that were provided by the board specific to the FPPC guidelines, and page 12, clarity on page 12 for committee or elected position assignments, and to then present them to both boards with those revisions.
Great.
And all the other changes.
And
yeah,
all the other changes by staff.
We will incorporate all the feedback into the final draft. Yeah.
And can I also add from the board packet, our summary to have the changes listed that we talked about here in that board packet? So that we can say, like, hey, these are the things that we were discussed, so that it's easier for future board members to have to go back and try to.
The cover memo will point out, highlight
Yeah.
all the substantive changes.
I would also recommend that also highlights any substantive changes between existing policy and current policy. That way, things
Right.
like that
So
gift policy
from the
wouldn't be
current
missed.
code versus the draft that you're seeing today.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
And I think I need a second on that.
yes.
The motion was passed by made by Mr. Kehoe and second by Ms. Langton. Ms. Fessler,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Ms. Langton.
Aye.
Mr. Fay,
Aye.
Ms. Me,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg,
Yes.
Chair Martin.
Yes.
The motion passes with the changes.
Okay,
Thank you
so
so much.
next, pardon me.
Lunch is here. Lunch is here.
Oh, okay. We're almost done with this. So consultant, any comments, Larry? Whatever comment you want to make.
Well, I think it's a great discussion and I appreciate the opportunity on both sides for the collaboration there. And really I mean, the code of ethics is kind of a foundational component of governance for us as an organization. And it really protects public interest and trust. It's designed to be in the best interests of our members. And I think that it has the potential, it mitigates potential legal and reputational risk. And I just feel like everybody has great comments here, doing the right thing. And I think that the rollout of this is going to be really important on how to promote it among staff, how to really engage staff, how to get commitment by staff to follow it, and really and to the members too. And I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be out on the public website and have all of that information available to the public as well, because it's designed to promote public trust, to know that we're acting in the best interest of our members.
Right. So we're going to jump to good of the order, but are you interested in
No, just
making
waiting
comment?
for good of the order.
Okay, you will go first.
I just wanted to, on two fronts, and I appreciate Larry's comments. I thought the conversation around the code of ethical conduct is appropriate for both engagement, staff and board, because it's really an accountability document for all of us. So I appreciate the comments. I know there's a lot of notes that was taken. Glad that we record meetings, because I'm sure we're going to go back and review the meeting. But again, I appreciate the commentary, and certainly we talk about our values, transparency and accountability, and we always say those aren't just words. Let's live through action. So again, appreciate the comments. I wanted to make sure I'll be remiss if I didn't share some final comments on our outgoing chief audit executive. So on behalf of obviously the LACERA staff, the team, Richard, boards, just want to say, and on behalf of the members we serve collectively, thank you for the more than 3 decades, I should say, of service. I know in collective county service, but also over 2 decades of LACERA service. Instrumental in building and strengthening LACERA's internal audit program, an essential pillar of trust. We talk about trust and transparency, and internal audit as an independent committee, but also as an independent staff is paramount to that. Your work, because of your work, our members can have a greater confidence that their benefits are safeguarded with the highest degree of integrity. As you begin this well-earned next chapter of your life, and we talk about, and I think it's a significant milestone that we don't appreciate enough, is when you get to retire on your own accord. That is such a benefit for individuals to be able to retire and enjoy the next chapter of their lives. And so many, and we see it on our side as well, don't get that opportunity to truly pick the date and have that date of retirement. So again, congratulations, and hopefully great time ahead of you with your spouse, with your children and your grandchildren. I know you just had a couple of new grandchildren to the family. Yep. So again, wishing you a retirement filled with rest, joy, and obviously connection with family. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good of the order, Elizabeth?
I just want to congratulate you again. I know we've been talking for months that you're retiring, but I'm so happy for you and look forward to hearing what you're going to do when you're retired.
Bobby?
Well, I second all of that. And Richard, I got to know you better at dinner than I have working with you when we were at the offsite, but I'm even more grateful for that opportunity now that I find out that you're not going to be here for me to pester for the next couple of years, but congratulations. I hope you enjoy your retirement as much as the rest of us do. And I just want to again commend the staff, Jess and Allison and Steve and whoever else you've gotten involved in this. The ethics policy is fantastic. And I know that you were drafting it basically out of whole cloth, and that is never an easy task, but the end product is really, really good. And I, like I said earlier, feel the passion in it. And that's really going to be critical in getting buy-in from our stakeholders.
Okay. Ladies, anything from you?
Do you want to tell us not to be late?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to drive together anymore.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Trustee Keo.
Richard, it's been a pleasure for many, many years. Just enjoyed working with you and your focus on the organization, integrity, ethics. It's just been a beautiful thing. And I know that you've set a solid foundation. Your legacy is going to continue on for decades. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I couldn't say anything better than everyone has said. Just want to congratulate you and let you know we're taking care of your retirement for you. We've got your benefits, we got your money, so you should be good. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm gonna need it.
Yeah. Congratulations to a fruitful career and fruitful life, you know, and thank you for your service. I'm gonna miss you, you know, if you miss us too, come back for a public comment or something like that. Yeah, and in the same time, to the staff, you know, thank you for excellent work today. I know it's not easy, you know, to have so many questions. And then to my peer here, I'm excited to work with this audit committee. A very effective team here. So thank you.
Trustee Fay, I'll let you go. Want to go?
Nothing for me. Everything else, I
For
agree
you?
with everybody else said.
Larry, anything from you?
Sure. Hey, Richard, congratulations on your retirement, and you've done a great job here at LACERA. But something that you may not be aware of is I first met Richard years ago at the Association of Public Pension Fund Auditors, just kind of casually as chief auditors. And Richard also provided leadership nationally for the Association of Public Pension Fund Auditors. So he was actually providing great leadership for chief auditors across the entire nation of public pension systems. So great job, Richard.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
One last comment from me. I
I
miss
think I said
you.
everything I had to say earlier. I appreciate
Yeah.
you. I'll miss you all as individuals. I don't know if I'll miss being on the fire and being, what did you say?
Pestered.
Being pestered. But I certainly will miss everybody here at the organization and know that the organization is in good hands. So I look forward to receiving those benefits on a monthly basis and making the actuaries sad. I want to make the actuaries really sad. I'll live way beyond that actuarial lifespan. That's the goal.
Okay, well, enjoy your retirement. It's going to be so fun.
Thank you.
And come back for our executive session. Is that okay with everybody? Good, good. All right, let's go.